our next session. We are going to start doing some review of ground driving and backing into cart shafts. We're gonna do some more saddle work in a little while when we have some candidate that might be wanting to ride in the saddle. And in the meantime, I want to review with the boys, the alpaca boys, what it's like to have a harness on and to back into our carts. We have 2 carts here. Eventually, we want both boys to be pulling carts. And I've shown you this before. We now have 2 pygmy goats here that are going to be probably pulling smaller carts, but we'll have to find them or make them because they are small. They're wonderful though. They're wonderful additions to Shadrach Farm Sanctuary, and they're very friendly with the alpacas here at Shadrach Farms Sanctuary. So as the boys come in, and Davis is just walking them in their usual way. They're very accommodating, and jokingly I tell them in the mornings where we're gonna do school that they'll have school at 10 and to get ready. And I did that this morning. I am setting up some extra irrigation here so that we can keep this training area green for the rest of the summer. Well, here comes Alpha. And he's looking back. Oh yeah, and he's saying, where's Beta? There she is. There he is. And they know to come into the tacking area. And we use our portable panels to keep them here until we have them tacked. Tavis, we're going to take a little bit of a break from saddle work until we get a couple helpers and maybe a rider. Okay. And here I've set up our goat harness. And I just saw the goats out there with you, and I just put them on the video. I saw that they followed you out. Okay, anything else you need, it is in our tack bins. And the goats pretty much hang around here freely. They don't want to go anywhere else, apparently. And at night I do enclose them in a fenced area where they have lattice fencing so that other critters can't come in and violate them at night. So being that Alpha is quicker to accommodate, we're going to do Alpha today. And then at our next session in a couple days, weather permitting, we'll do the same with Beta. And recall that I had this U device assembled from PVC with 90-degree angles to be simulated cart shafts. I want to make sure that the boys won't get upset if they happen to be touched by the cart shaft when they're attached to the cart shafts. And that's something else I want to do today. I want to start thinking about, with the goat harness on, how are we going to attach them to the cart shafts? And we really do need extra team members. We don't have them today, but we'll be doing some planning and tack gathering and look forward to, one step at a time, helping Alpha and Beta be good, reliable cart pullers. Now, is Alpha gonna give trouble when he feels the harness put on? So far, no, he's standing there. I'm trying to show you how we do it. This is all original training work. I haven't seen any other video on YouTube that gives me any clue how to do this, so I'm just using all my past knowledge and experience with horses and mini cows when I did it for decades under the name of Urban Cowgirl Show on YouTube. Alpha's being so good. He's just being patient. His ears are back. Their ears do talk. We're going to have to do some reviewing today of just ground driving with this harness on, because it's been a while, and we want to make sure that they aren't concerned about something that they are not sure about. I think the first cart we're going to use is the metal shaft cart that's over there to the left. We're going to try to back Alpha into it with his goat harness on and ground driving lines on, and then have a lead line on as well in case we need the lead line. And recall that I made this corridor. We'll do a little bit of preliminary work in the corridor of walking through, stopping, and backing up. And the goat boys are over there beyond this training area. They followed us back. They know where they live. And at night they go into their sleeping area by themselves, and we close the panels to make sure they're safe. I watch them with lights on and night vision cameras. And then the first thing in the morning, as close to sunrise as possible, I go and open the panels, and they're always very grateful. You might want to walk through the corridor first and do a little backing there. It's going to be easier. It's a little bit wider. There's Beta watching from the other side of the fence. So far it's reasonably cool. I did have a heat exhaustion episode after our last lesson, which was very scary for me. Remember, I'm 81 years old. It was very, very hot, so we waited until the weather got a little cooler, and I'm comfortable being out here now. And then say, use the word back. 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 Now you see he's got more space to back here. Over there, it's much more narrow. And we may, if we have trouble over there, we may make this training corridor more narrow. We can move these white PVC standards and rails over to make it more narrow. But we'll see. Well, remember, this is review. We have to see if they remember. we're doing this one step at a time so that we are comfortable pulling a cart with our alpaca boys. Okay, and then we give them some praise, remove the pressure if they've given us the right answer. Those are all principles of training. I don't think that hose is going to cause a problem. If it does, I'll move it. The metal shaft cart. Here's Beta. He came closer to watch. Okay, now Alpha's front legs are over the shaft. Are we going to say, use the word back so he knows when he hears that word. Back. Good. Good. No rush. Be patient, persistent. Now you did it with pretty much both the drive lines and the halter lead line in your hand. Can we do it just with the drive lines eventually? And the verbal command, back, back. Okay, now he's possibly, okay, he just stepped over. He's not understanding where he's supposed to be backing. Do you see? Yeah. I think for our next lesson, we're going to make this corridor more narrow. Use the word over and over and over again. Repetition, he'll learn. And it would be more helpful if we had somebody here to have an arm extension and tap him on the hips if we want the hips to go over. Now he's got his right front leg over the shaft. Does he realize he's backing into the shafts? I don't think so, not yet. Back. Back. Good. Good, good. Now he just stepped on the shaft. Okay. Let him stand there for a moment, and I'm going to come closer. We're going to put it on the video, and then we're going to discuss what we can do. And I'll watch YouTube videos. There aren't too many up there where alpacas are driving a cart. How are we going to connect to the shafts? And I can look back on my urban cowgirl shows and see how I did it with my mini cows. You know, and the next thing to do right now in this lesson is to lift the shafts, but I don't want you to do it. I wish we had a third person. We don't.
I can try.
Can you do it without, don't confuse them when you bend down. Good, good, okay. Do you see how we have to connect from the harness to the shaft, and then we have to decide if we need something in front or behind him to keep him in a good position. Think about it, even if it's just PVC or nylon straps that I have from all my horse and cow days. Okay, he seems to be okay. Let's just let him stand there. Good. His ears are back, but his eyes aren't stressed. Beta's over here watching. It's nice and cool here in the shade. And then I feel that we're going to be able to look at this video and come up with some better tack next time. But I feel that another thing we need to review is to ground drive. Whoops, is he going to try to get out? Ground drive Alpha into the big pasture. So I'm going to follow you here with the camera. And I'm hoping you can take the lead line off or just wrap it around his neck. See, I don't want them stepping over the shafts, so I use that word. Okay, now I'm going to carefully follow you. I'm going to leave it up to your judgment how to remind him what the ground driving lines feel like and what he's supposed to be doing to respond to them. And I'm going to carefully walk out this way. Last time that we worked out here, this fence line was down, and I think what happened, we didn't have enough panels, we didn't have enough angle, and one of the goats went under somewhere and it fell down. Almost. It wasn't completely down. So we're going to watch that. Sometimes we run out of our sticks that go work into these panel connections, and right for now we just have it tied, but we're going to get some bolts to put into these panel connections because it's not quite connected right. Okay, and it doesn't look like it's connected right, so we're going to fix that. And I'm going to carefully walk out into the big pasture. I'm so glad we have the big pasture, and of course you know that we're going to aim to do all of this out in the trails around the rancho's property where no motor vehicles are allowed. But that means there'll be unusual, unexpected things happening out there. So we're going to continue to provide repetition, repetition, repetition until we're pretty confident that the boys are comfortable and not scared or won't be scared, for example, of a dog or a goat or horses at the fence line. It looks like from a distance they're walking much faster than I can walk. That Alpha is very comfortable out there with the ground driving lines on. We usually take him right to his black tub where he enjoys to play in the water. Beta's following along. I hope you can see them. I'll get closer shortly. Yeah, he's in the tub. He steps over the edge. He's completely in the tub. He likes that. I'm trying to get closer so that you can see it and enjoy it and watching it. I say this every time I come out here because I don't know if you've watched prior videos of mine in the Urban Alpaca Girl Show, but I have 5 gates out to the Rancho's trails, which are on the other side of my railroad tie perimeter fence. It's railroad tie posts and cable rails. It's called finish line fencing. It's very good for livestock. And I use the railroad tie posts because I had decades of experience with horses, and railroad ties was the only wood post material that they wouldn't chew. Try to drive him now, if you can, with your ground driving lines from the back. Remember, he's got to get used to responding to right and left, whoa and go, back from behind. Because if you're on a cart, driving a cart, you'll definitely be behind. Right next to that sprinklerizer is the black tub that he stepped into. I think he had all fours in there, didn't he?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Can you do it without the lead line control?
That's what I've been trying to do.
Oh, okay, good. I wasn't sure. See, if we had another person, they could be at the lead line and remove it if we are getting the right answers. What would happen if you just released the lead line and went behind? They really can't get out here if they do get away. And my fencing is so secure. That's it. Okay, now try to stay behind, even if he doesn't quite understand what you're asking for. Yeah, he doesn't quite understand it yet. Pull a little bit with your right rein to keep him from turning left. He is confused. That's why I wanted to review this today. We're gonna work on it. Oh, and he's kicking out at the drive line that's on his right hip. See, he's confused. He's trying to stay head on head with Tavis, his trainer. He's got to realize that no, we're going to be behind. We're going to be behind on the ground or in a cart. That's better. I'm walking closer as best I can. He's kicking out when he feels the ground driving lines on his hip. That we have to stop from happening. He has to understand that that's the wrong answer. And that's why I decided to do this driving lesson review today, so that we can see what our behavioral objectives will be as we proceed to get him hooked to a cart. From my experience with these alpaca boys for the last few years, they try very hard to understand. They try very hard to please, but they are prey animals, and if they get concerned, they lose focus. Understandably so. Keep in mind that if we're in a cart, you've got to be behind him, not next to his hip like that. If he will stay straight and go forward. A little bit confused. Try to pull a little bit of tension, not a constant pull, but a tug, to make him realize that the right side of his face, if he feels tension there, he has to look and move to the right. With repetition, he will understand. When you teach fractions to children, you have to make sure that they know that fraction has a certain value, and it's based on how big is the top number in the fraction and the bottom number in the fraction. You take it apart, teach them how to manipulate those fractions, knowing what the numerator and the denominator are in a fraction. You see, I think that Alpha is not sure what he's supposed to be doing. I'm looking at his body language, his answers. Better. Now he says, okay, I'm walking forward. Beta's following, watching. Alpha just kicked out a little bit with his left rear leg. He must have felt something on his ankle. Try to go behind him. Now I'm going to try to follow so we can watch his replies, his answers, see if he's learning what to do in order to be a reliable cart-pulling alpaca. Remember, this is a gate opening by just opening two portable panels. It can be closed. If we want to keep livestock on one side versus the other, and I do have surveillance cameras here. I had to move this surveillance camera and somehow the lens got a little bit cloudy. The one here on that wooden post behind the middle of the panel, as it looks out there. So I like to watch what's going on out there during the day. Whether or not the alpacas or the goats are out there, are there neighborhood dogs out there? or something a little bit even more scary like a mountain lion or a coyote. And this gate we try to close every night because we keep the boys back here. Oh, and now Alpha's in his other tub. They love to play in water tubs. At night we don't let them out in the big pasture.